over what we've been talking about, the renting, what the process is, specifically for your loan, right? So this will be more geared
Towards him, yeah.
towards him because we're talking about the VA stuff, which is a little bit special,
Yeah.
let's say, right? So renting versus buying, there's tax benefits, right? You'll have more write-offs, and I think for VA, it's even more.
No,
Is
it's the
that
same,
fair?
it's the same tax benefit,
Okay,
just the
so,
mortgage insurance, which is a huge plus.
right, which is a huge plus, not paying mortgage insurance, like that is a big chunk that.
John will explain what more.
Yeah.
So, yeah, let me explain. So if you buy a house and you put down less than 20%, you have an additional fee. That fee could be as high as $500 or $600 per month. That's called mortgage insurance. So if you can't do it, so when you buy a house and you're putting down less than 20%, you have your choice of either FHA or conventional. So if you do a conventional, eventually, once you have 20% equity, the mortgage insurance will go away, but that could be 5, 6, 7 years. If you do FHA, you have it forever. You have to refinance and incur all of those fees again. With VA, you never pay it. So that's why VA is a superior product for not only the zero down payment, which is nice, but your actual payment monthly will be at least 15%, 10, 12, 15% less than it would have been had you done any other loan program. Because you don't have to pay the mortgage insurance. You follow me?
Yeah.
That's a
I
huge.
didn't know that.
Yep.
She's way empty down here.
I know, but you could just ask questions. Even if you don't understand it.
She likes to like, you know,
That's great.
she
Take
likes
notes,
to
I
like
love
design.
to take notes.
I know it's
So, bonus to buying versus renting is that you're gonna buy something that you're building equity in, right? So that you could use that equity.
Quick question. You said you bought your house how many years ago?
5 years.
Did it double in value?
Yeah.
There you go. And let me just make a point, because in your case, you'll be putting down $0. Let's just say you're a regular buyer, you're buying a house for $500,000, you're putting down, say 10%, you put down $50,000. Your house goes from $500,000 to $1 million in, let's say, 10 years, which is going to happen. Your $50,000 investment just made you $500,000. Think about it, there's no other place you can do that. You can't, it just doesn't exist. And you're getting a tax benefit throughout the entire transaction, and you have a place to live. And right now, if you have money in the stock market, like I haven't even looked
I'm
at
not
my 401k,
looking. I'm
because
not
it'll make
looking.
me sick. You follow me?
You just gotta let it ride.
Yeah.
We're gonna wait it out.
I
I'm
haven't
not
even
looking.
looked at months.
No,
either.
I have
I
enough
refuse to.
anxiety in my life.
So it's the best investment I've ever made. I have a listing, by Pelham Bay, and it was a 2-family house on a double lot. The man bought it, less than 10 years ago. He bought it for $550,000. The value now is 1.2 million.
Yep. It's time.
Because of, you know,
Appreciation.
appreciation.
Wow.
Okay, so that's amazing. So we're gonna talk about the plan, how to mentally prepare and financially prepare for you to purchase a property, because there's a lot involved and it's a very emotional process, because it's probably the biggest investment that you're gonna make in your life for you and your family. So it is highly involved, and we like to hold our people together and kind of make sure we get you to the finish line. So, you know, what's your why? So we're talking about that you guys are renting, right? And you need more space and you need something to leave to your daughter. So this is why we're talking about this today, right? So, John, you want to talk about
Sure. So first things first, think like a lender. First thing it says is credit. So obviously we want to make sure you have a decent credit score, but the truth is with the VA product, we can get away with a lot of stuff that we can't get away with on another deal. I don't like to give a specific credit score only because there's really no specific number. I can do a deal probably in the 500s, but that's all going to dictate on when I run it through DU, meaning when it goes into, every loan has to go into a government underwriting system, and sometimes your credit score might be below the guideline, but it will still give you the deal, but it depends on different criteria. How much you have in the bank, the house, and I don't know what those criteria are. It's an algorithm done by a computer. So, you know, point is you want to get your credit as high as possible regardless, because it'll get you the better deal, but with the VA product, it can be flexible with the credit.
Okay.
Monthly survival number, how much is this going to cost you on a monthly basis? I just said earlier, the one positive with the VA, well, there's many positives with the VA, but one in particular is that mortgage insurance. So your payment will definitely be 10 to 15% less than if you weren't better with it, which is big. If you got a $3,000 payment and you're saving, you know, $400 a month, that's a car payment. Well, that's your property tax. Right? That's a significant amount of money. But that's also like 2 payments a year that you save. You know, that $400 a month is $5,000 a year. That's like you make 2 extra payments a year. You keep that money in your pocket. Cash. See, after putting down 6 to 12 months of your minimum down payment, In this case, you don't have a down payment. So that's another tremendous benefit for you. Income, obviously, you know, your work history, they want to see a 2-year solid work history. Are you self-employed or W-2?
No.
Yeah, W-2 is a significantly easier deal to do. Yep, and then again, wow, we're hitting everything we already discussed. The
Right.
debt to income ratio. As I said earlier, if somebody's buying a property conventional, I know definitively, and just so you know, there's some deals now that are under the threshold that aren't taken.
Really?
Yeah, and that started back a few months ago, so I'm like, because I have to know everything now, because there's deals I've had in the high 40s.
Yeah.
And mostly, you know, I would know that's good, some of them aren't good right now. But the DTI is how much can you borrow versus your income. So if you're making $5,000 per month, your debt to income typically has to be under, let's say, $2,500. That's your car payment, your mortgage payment, your taxes, your insurance, etc.
Half.
Half, correct. It's a little bit more than half, but I like to use half because it's a nice, easy equation. With the VA loan, we can go significantly higher than half. We could do in the 60s. No, so if you're making $5,000 a month, we could probably go $3,000-ish. And again, I can't say definitively an exact number. We
Right.
run it through that underwriting system, and that underwriting system either approves it or denies it.
Right.
So I mean, the credit score, we were talking about, you know, how to keep your credit, lower your DTI and things like that, but it's kind of different for the situation.
Correct. What I would say, and if depending on how serious you are, I would say if you want me to run it, you know, you reach out to me anytime. It's better, even if you're like, you know what, we might not be ready yet. I always say let's run it anyway.
Right.
So this way, there's no surprises, because if you find the house in 3 or 4 months, it's oh my God, we've got a deal. Regina found this amazing place, and then I run. I'm like, I can't help you. But
Right.
had I known about this 90 days ago, we could have fixed the
Right.
problem.
Right.
I always say let's get ahead of it. I'm happy to take a peek, and there's no charge or anything like that. It's just being proactive.
Ah, okay.
Right, so that's really good, because then you
Right.
know, right, so we're talking about it because we're talking about next year, even though it's in 2 months, but it's better to be prepared to know, all right, we do
At least we
work
know.
on this or do that, absolutely.
Right, right.
So, and then, you know, this is good to know anyway, you should always check your credit report, because you'd be surprised, there's a lot of inaccuracies, and then it'll be time for you to, you know, sit down with John, and then things come up, and you didn't even know it was there.
Funny story, when I was 18, because my name is John Kelly, it's a very common name, I applied for my first credit card, and they gave me this ridiculously high limit. And I
Oh, God.
Was
wow,
it a
this is-
Discover card when we were in
I forget the card, but what happened was, they got me mixed up with another John Kelly, who was like an older man, who had like this huge Amex limit, and so I got like a $40,000, like you should get like
Oh, my
$1,500.
God.
And I was like, oh my God, like this is like
Right, it's
1992,
amazing.
like a $40,000, it was, I forget the exact numbers, but it was huge. But let me tell you, usually it's not a good story like that. Usually it's a bad story.
Right, negative,
Meaning, so I'm like the only person I know of that they got me mixed up on the credit, and it ended up being a positive. It's usually a negative. So she's right. Let's take a look at it to make sure there's
Yeah,
no
make
bad
sure.
surprises, and we can take care of them.
This worksheet I'm gonna give you to take home so you can work on your numbers, just to know,
Okay.
the monthly survival number, and then,
Well,
so
this will
the-
change for him also.
right, this will definitely change, we're just talking about, you know, the different loan programs, so you can see that the, VA is there,
Okay.
and how it varies, right? So,
Mhm.
it's good to put a down payment with the VA, it does give you skin in the game, and then they could just use it for the closing, is that
Closing.
what we're saying? So you would say, so, for the VA, I'm gonna put 10% down, but really,
Putting 10% on contract.
right?
So let's just say he's buying a house for 500,000. Well, sorry, that would be a bit much because your closing costs will not be. Say your closing costs are going to be 25,000. I would
I
say.
would say put down 5%.
Correct.
Okay,
So what would happen is,
Right.
so we work out the numbers with John. Before you put in the offer, talk to me.
right,
Figure out what you should put on your offer sheet. So you can say, I'm buying it for 500,000, at the signing of the contract, I'm putting down $25,000.
okay,
And that's it. And then you may not even need to put, depending on. So here's the whole thing, the seller will get paid all from the bank, and that 25 would pay your closing costs. So you're technically all in at 25,000.
Correct.
and it's still like you're putting nothing down.
Correct.
It is,
Got
right?
it, right.
Yeah,
You put nothing
That-
down,
that
just
makes
pay the
sense.
closing costs cash.
that's all you're
Right.
doing is paying your closing.
So what we were just talking about to calculate the closing costs, so, okay.
But she said that regardless, even if there's no closing costs, or I mean, no down payment, it's still good to put a
You
chunk.
have to.
Yep.
You have to, because
To be
as,
honest.
again, no one's, even in the worst possible market, the seller wants to see that I'm not taking the house off the market and saying, nobody else can look at it. And you put down $1,000, you say, screw it, I can let go of the 1,000, but this now house has been off the market for 2 months.
Okay.
There, you know,
Thanks.
so it's, you know, it's just,
It's a good faith, right?
it's
a
it's
show.
literally a good faith deposit.
Okay.
Like, I'm gonna act in good faith and I'm gonna go through with the loan, you're gonna act in good faith and not show the property to anybody else.
Right, and that's what it comes down to.
Okay.
So then
Closing cost is about 5%, I say.
is that
I
on
usually,
the
I
high
would say
end, right?
5%,
On the high end?
no, yeah, because 2% is more for co-ops.
Right.
Yep.
So this is what goes into closing costs, when we're talking about closing costs, right? So home inspection, appraisal, the homeowner's insurance, lender fees, is that,
Yeah, the bank fee.
All in all, 5% is your number,
right,
Correct.
is your closing cost.
right.
It doesn't matter how it's broken down, whose pocket it's
Right,
broken
right,
into,
right.
it's 5%.
So, we're talking about your income, the pay stubs and tax returns, you need to have 2 years worth, that's baseline, right? That's for everything.
Right.
You should have 2 years because it has to be consistent, and that's what it takes to calculate to see how much buying power you have.
You have John's card?
I'm gonna give
Flip
them
it over.
everything.
There you go.
It tells you everything
Flip
that
it
you
over.
have.
There you go.
I got
So all the documents that you
I
need
just-
is there, it's like, it's perfect, it's
I got
right
you.
there. See?
I just saw
And then,
that.
this is just a breakdown of what, your monthly payment, includes, your mortgage payment. So the principal, interest, taxes, and the homeowner insurance,
Correct.
all the same still for the year,
Correct.
right? We're good.
Yeah, there's no mortgage, see if you look to the right, the mortgage insurance is there, which she does not have to pay.
Right, so minus the homeowner's insurance. Or the mortgage insurance, I'm sorry.
Correct.
So just so you know, because I don't even think we discussed it, mortgage insurance
Uh-huh.
is stuff that we're talking about. You should know what mortgage insurance
Yes.
is.
Right.
If you put down less than 20% of the value, like, if you put
Right.
down less than 20%, they had dropped.
Yeah, mortgage, yeah, yeah.
Insurance, right, so you don't have to pay that.
And it's to protect the bank,
Bank,
right? It's to protect
It's
the
got
bank.
nothing to do with you.
Okay.
It says after 2008, they don't trust buyers anymore. They say,
Right.
we'll let you put down less than 20%, but I don't trust you. So every month you need to put in this little fee,
Right.
so that I can take back what you haven't paid me, and then still foreclose on your house.
Yeah, and
give
still get you,
More people
right?
the ability to lend more money to more people to
Right.
cover their losses. So it's
Yeah.
really fair to them as well
Right, it
because,
covers both parties.
Right.
You can buy a house for less than 20%, and they're covered in case you don't make it.
pre-2008, you gotta get two loans, one loan for
Right.
80 and one loan
One
for
for
20.
20.
Yeah.
Or the 106.
Yeah.
So we go back one,